Hi, my name is Jennifer Criddle, and I'm a real estate agent with Security Pacific Real Estate Brokerage in Richmond, California. Thank you for tuning in, and Happy New Year to you. I wanted to put together a session of videos that really address first-time home buyers and just things to look for when trying to find an agent to represent you. I guess I have an affinity for first-time home buyers and just all that they go through, because it can be an amazing, wonderful experience to accomplish such a huge goal. But if you don't have the right agent, it can also be incredibly daunting and overwhelming and much more anxiety-ridden than what it has to be. So I wanted to provide you with some tips that would help the first-time home buyer find the perfect agent for them, and helping them facilitate their purchase of their first home. The first one would be communication. And that sounds like it would be a no-brainer and, sort of elementary. Well, of course, having good communication is important. But oftentimes what happens is that the deal will get going and then all communication will be lost. And the buyer, the client, is sort of left in the dark because the agent has dropped the ball in terms of communicating what's going on, either because they feel like it's not necessary for the client to know, or they just haven't heard anything back. It could be just as simple as that. But in communicating, it's important to communicate even when there's nothing to communicate, meaning that you get back with your client and let them know, I'm still waiting on the report to come back, or the approval, or whatever it is that you're waiting for. Please stand by, and upon my hearing of something, I will make sure that you will be the first to know. So just checking in and touching base. I like to check in with my clients, even if there's nothing to say, at the end of the day, to let them know that, hey, we're still at this particular juncture, and as soon as something changes, which will hopefully be within the next day, I'll make sure that you are the first to know. So very, very easy to do, but oftentimes some real estate agents just don't feel the need to do that, and then that causes anxiety on the buyer's side. The most important piece for an agent is, in terms of what we do, is to facilitate and to guide, to not make decisions for the buyer or even the seller, but to guide them through the process of either of buying a home or listing a home. And so that leads me then to my next point, which would be listening. To be a good listener. Salespeople most have the gift of gab. Real estate agents, most of us are salespeople. And so we've got the gift of gab. But more important, and the greater skill, is to be a good listener. That takes time and discipline, and it needs to be honed. And being a good listener isn't just listening to somebody's words, but it's also listening to what they're not saying. So me, as a real estate agent, I'm going to pay attention to your mannerisms, your body language, your tone in your voice, what you're saying and what you're not saying. And that's going to tell me a lot about what you want and what you don't want, and how I can best represent you to the listing agent and to the other people that I'm dealing with on your behalf. Lastly would be follow through. Follow through, follow through, follow through. I cannot stress the importance of follow through enough. It's really important to be a woman or man of your word. The agent says they're going to do something, they need to follow through with that. Do what you say and say what you're going to do. When follow through doesn't happen, it creates, again, angst and anxiety. And all of that can be relieved if the agent just does what they say they're going to do. And oftentimes, it's not in the agent's capacity to make something happen. But even if that's not the case, if that is the case, and they tell you that they're going to follow up with some information for you at a certain day and time, and then they don't do it because they haven't heard anything, they still owe you the response of calling you back or emailing you or texting you or however to let you know where they are in the process. Follow through can make or break a deal. Not getting paperwork in on time, not conveying to the buyer, the client, how important it is to get the paperwork in on time. These documents that we're talking about, most of them are time sensitive, and just making sure that you and the client and the buyer and the agent are on the same page. And it's like you're going down the road and you're having a relationship for a good 30 days and you want to be in sync together. So those are my 3 tips for today's video session. Next week, I will be pointing out 3 more that I think are important in terms of selecting a buyer's agent and just the whole process as it relates to the home buying process. Please, again, feel free and email me any questions that you may have. And if I feel that they are relevant and that other people can benefit from my answer, then I will discuss them in my next video chat. My email address is Criddle, Criddle, Jennifer, Jennifer, @gmail.com. Again, criddlejennifer@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I look forward to seeing and talking with you again next week. Have a great week.